Hello, everybody. Yes, the media files have returned. Yes. So, what happened? Well, let's just say, besides life getting in the way, basically, we had two major little issues going on. Yeah, a little bit thing called technical problems, could be extremely painful in the ass, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so most of the videos that I mainly shoot, do all my updates with and whatever, I use my iPhone. And one day, out of nowhere, it decides, hey, I'm going to be at, a good amount of percentage. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to just turn off on you. Okay? I'm like, did you decide to update yourself? No. I figured it was just due to the ISO 26 update that it was causing a lot of major battery drainage issues, which I know a lot of people have been having issues with that. But as it turns out, which you can't really see anymore, but right along here in this section, a part of it was kind of bubbled a little bit. And apparently, I don't know if I had dropped my phone or hit it on something or it got dropped or whatever it was. So, yeah, apparently the battery had somehow managed to slightly get out of position and started to literally die on me. So, thankfully, we got the battery replaced, and after that whole fiasco of getting the SIM card back up and running again, which was absolutely such a pain in the ass. Yeah, let's just say the phone is back in full swing again for awesome video content. The other issue, the big old Mac Daddy here. Yeah. So one day I go to turn it on, and it's running pretty smooth. And then I go to turn it on again, shut it down. And I'm like, okay, you're running a little bit slower. Okay, well, maybe because it's all the crap that I had, loaded up into it, via USB ports or whatever. So then one night, we had a little power outage. I think somebody hit a power line or a power pole or something. So I'm like, great. So I go to turn it back on. Good old question mark hard drive logo. Yeah, I can't find the hard drive. Okay. So I do some technical research and whatnot, and basically, as it turns out, the damn hard drive disk decides to basically almost croak. Yeah. Now, mind you, this Mac was actually passed down to me, and mind you, the thing itself is a little over 10 years old. Which, I don't really care. I'm just glad the fact that it's just a nice big old screen. So, thankfully, I had the original operating system saved on a flash drive. Good old El Capitan. Yeah, that tells you how old this thing is. So, thankfully, as a birthday present, I got a new MacBook. Yeah. Considering that's really only technically my fourth piece of Mac technology, besides, iPhone here. But as far as Mac computers go, MacBook is basically my first ever Mac laptop. So trying to figure out how to get that thing to show up on the big screen, well, let's just say that the only thing that I can figure out at the moment is that, it's got a screen sharing software on both of them, so basically I just kind of use the big screen here that I use the MacBook basically to run off of this, but it lags a little bit due to not direct connection. Yeah, I kind of have to use it wirelessly, and it lags a little bit, but hey, for what I need to do though, that's fine until I can find the right type of cables to hook up this bad boy to it. So yeah, so basically all of the music that I had stored on here, all my video files that I had stored on here, Thankfully, I had transferred to an external hard drive that was all saved. Thank God. And also, thank God, I also managed to airdrop all of my little thumbnails that I had created onto my MacBook before that thing decided to say, hey, I can't find this. So, yeah, so basically the whole thing's running at this point basically off of a flash drive. Hey, it works. It's fine with me, even though it only takes up this much memory. So, yeah, as long as it has some sort of an operating system on it, I can do the whole screen sharing thing. So there we go. Okay, so enough of me about rambling on about technical problems and issues. So yes, that's why you haven't seen stuff from me for a while. So in the meantime, well, what have I been doing? Well, obviously, still collecting. That's never going to stop. But if you can kind of tell where my arm is, you can kind of tell how tall the pile is. Yeah. Now, mind you, most of the stuff was actually supposed to be shot for Batman Day. And I never got around to doing it because, well, that's basically when the computer decided to croak. And that's when I kind of started noticing the beginning of my battery issues, but didn't think anything much of it. So, I say, screw it. Let's just have a mega superhero multimedia update. Yeah, you heard me right. Multimedia. We got Blu-rays. We got DVDs. We got a book. Yeah. And on top of that, one of the DVDs basically is not comic book character related, but in my opinion, basically it's real superheroes. Yes. And when we get to that, we will get to that. So, we got loads of stuff to go through here. And almost an entire collection basically is almost complete with this big, huge single update. We got Marvel, we got DC, and we even have some independent comic book characters. Yes. So with that, let's get right into it. We've got a lot to discuss here, and so I'd like to apologize. So this video will be a little bit long because of that long what happened type of video. So, yeah. Okay, well, let's not waste any time here. Mega Superhero Multimedia Update right here on the Media Files. Let's see what we got. Okay, welcome back. So let's get the real superhero thing out of the way. So there's another small story regarding this. So the other day, I was at Walmart. I had to go there to get something. I think it was dog food, actually. Yeah, my dogs were getting low on food, and the type of food that they seem to enjoy quite immensely, I can pretty much either find at Walmart or Rural King or whatever those type of places. But Walmart's generally cheaper, for the most part. So I kind of come across, I'm like, well, let's go look in the movie section, why not? And so I come across what I'm going to show here in just a second, but I found it where it had, the packaging had been taken off. It was basically opened, the discs were all in there, so I go up there and I ask them, like, well, hey, is it possible I could get this discounted because, technically it's open? And typical Walmart, no, unfortunately we can't sell it because it's technically opened. I'm like, great. So I find out how much it is. I go on eBay and find it for even cheaper. Yeah, Walmart originally was wanting $15, $16 for something that was opened. Yeah, I found it on eBay for $10. And it is the third part, or rather in this case, the third series that Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg have produced. Yes, from of course, those two guys. Of course, I'm talking about the Apple TV series, Masters of the Air. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The real superheroes, these guys here, World War II vets. Now, the funny thing is, I had no idea that this was actually being released on physical media. I figured it was just, Apple TV only. And let's just say that, it looks kind of fakeish a little bit, but that is the real packaging. You can actually see that. And I apologize for the glare. But yeah. And what really sucks about this packaging, in my opinion, is that it would have been really cool had Apple thrown the money. I mean, they threw a bunch of money into making this, right? It would have been awesome if the packaging had basically coincided with Band of Brothers and the Pacific. That way, all three of them, all had the same, book type of design and what have you. Just to basically, make everything go together. Because, obviously Band of Brothers, more about the Army, so it's green. Pacific, more about, the Marines, it's brown. Of course, Masters of the Air is blue. Basically, this is a series about the Air Force, written by, of course, it's based off of the book by Donald L. Miller, who, of course, was a World War II vet. I think he did interviews with them and whatnot, but I only got to see the first episode of it when it was for free, and I've been looking forward to seeing this ever since. So, yeah, what can we say? These are the real superheroes here, folks. So, yeah. You're not going to change my mind on that. So, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the stuff that we have now. Okay, so moving on to comic books. Yes. So I just put this thing in here for this. So, as most of you probably know, I got this way back around Christmas time. Thank God, because I do plan on doing some fan audio commentaries for these, for especially some of the two-parter episodes, because they're, kind of somewhat horror-ish, kind of somewhat Halloweenish a little bit, so be on the lookout for those. Luckily, those are short. Speaking of Batman, shall we say, I had to get this, just for nostalgia's sake. Basically, yes, I've got multiple copies of this movie, but I don't care. I love this movie. This is probably my favorite movie of all time. We got the 89 Batman. Hey, TV, your screen, you're going to stay like that. It adds extra light this way. Anyways, 89 Batman. Of course, this is just the bare bones edition. Basically, I just got it because, what can I say? It reminds me of the VHS artwork. Yeah. Now, I would love for one day to actually figure out if I would love to make a DVD version, or basically it is it's a DVD, but it's just a bootleg version where it's the VHS cut, where basically it has those two commercials before the movie. But I would make the movie in widescreen, of course. But what can we say though? This nostalgic. It's Batman. That's all you gotta say. Okay, so moving right along. So speaking of Batman. Yes, I have the DVD set, but you know what? Damn it, I had to upgrade it. I'm still thinking about keeping the DVD set, although I might get rid of it, because, I got it now on Blu-ray. Yeah. And it was only $20. Yeah. I'm talking about the complete television series of Batman, the 66 show. On Blu-ray. Look at that. How awesome is this? $20. I kid you not. Because I just happened to go on Amazon. Yeah, they had it listed at $30. But I had some random coupon that kind of just popped up. Hey, you can take $10 off. I don't know if that was some random flash thing that happened. Or just however my purchasing setup was. Or whatever it is. But yeah, $20 brand new on Blu-ray? Hell yeah. Sign me up. I mean, come on, it's frickin' Batman. I mean, that's all you need to know. And on top of that, it's in HD. Yeah. What can I say? It's Batman. That's all you need to say right there. Okay, so speaking of more Batman stuff, I had to pick this up, just to complete the original DC movie universe run, or cinematic universe, whatever it is that you want to call it. I know this movie's utter crap, but, I just got it for completion's sake. It's okay. Everybody's favorite version of the movie, Justice League. Yeah. Justice League, I know. Nobody likes this cut. Everybody likes the Snyder cut better. but what can I say? I mean, there's a few things here and there, obviously, that are not in the Snyder Cut, vice versa, etc., etc. But, what can I say? I think the only one that I gotta get now is Joker Folie Deux, or in this case, Joker 2. And I'll have the entire original run on Blu-ray. Okay, so, moving right along. So, we're going to go more into the independent movies for a brief minute. Because, well, there's only two of them. And mind you, one of these I have been wanting for a while. I know it was a bit pricey, but I managed to somehow get it on eBay, I think, for like $12. Which is not too shabby, considering it's a Scream Factory, or in this case, Shout Factory title. Of course, I'm talking about one of my favorite comic book movies from the 90s. We've got here the collector's edition of The Shadow. Yeah, starring Alec Baldwin. I love this movie. This movie is freaking awesome. I know it's cheesy quite a bit, but, I mean, what can I say? I mean, come on. I mean, there should have been at least a sequel to this movie. And yes, I know that there's certain scenes in this movie that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Bridge closing in shot with no cape flap, which you could tell it's supposed to be a cape flap. Yeah, you know what shot I'm talking about. But anyways, thank God I finally have this on Blu-ray. It's, on top of that, it's on widescreen. Yes. And we finally have for this movie bonus features. Yes. Which basically we have new interviews with director Russell Mulcahy, Alec Baldwin, Penelope Ann Miller, production designer Joseph Nemechek III, director of photography Stephen H. Burnham, and writer David Koepp, the theatrical trailer, and still gallery. I know, but there's really not that. I mean, the interviews are basically, that's all that there really is. There's really no making of, as far as, I'm sure there probably is somewhere, but at least we finally have something versus the bare bones DVD that's been out forever. But yeah, thank God. But what can we say? I mean, it sucked that this movie didn't do very well, but I have enjoyed this movie since I was a kid. And on top of that, I love Jerry Goldsmith's score to this. Definitely check that out. That's actually like the highlight of the movie. And then, well, I knew once this got announced, I had to pick this up. I know a lot of people got this, definitely. And I've had the DVD director's cut for ages. I did a review of that on my channel. I'll post a link to that down in the description below. But definitely there's going to be a redo. Yeah. We have here from Arrow, we've got Spawn. Yeah. Ever since Arrow got their hands on the licensing rights, I'm like, are we going to finally get an upgraded version of the theatrical cut? Are we finally going to get that on DVD or on Blu-ray? Yes. We finally have the theatrical cut and the director's cut in one package. Finally. And I know there are subtle differences and yada yada, but we'll definitely go through all this later at some point. Because there's just way too much stuff to, mention on here. And on top of that, we'll have a closer look at that at some point, or a close-up, however I want to title it. Alrighty, so up next, we got ourselves a couple of new releases. Yes, I didn't think I'd go about getting these, because, well, I saw one of them in theaters, the other one I wanted to see, but I didn't get to, unfortunately. But now that I finally have it, I have basically all of them except for two of them. Yeah, so I've got here, we got the newest iteration of Marvel's First Family. We've got the Fantastic Four, First Steps. Yeah, I have not seen this yet, but I've heard this is much better than than some of the other adaptations done. Although technically, the Roger Corman one basically was the closest one for over 30 years until they managed to decide to do this one right. Yeah, can't wait to see this. Yes, I know the Silver Surfer is supposed to be a guy, but they're using this certain comic book series storyline where apparently he's a girl. Okay, I'll figure that out later. Hey, at least I know Galactus is the villain. That's all I know. No spoilers in the comments. I have yet to watch it. However, though, this movie, I definitely have seen it in theaters because, well, I wanted to see it really bad because I just, what can I say? It just looked good, and I'm like, well, let's see how this actually goes. Here we have basically the origins. Yes, we have Chapter 1 of the DC movie redo. We have Superman. Yeah, the James Gunn movie with Crypto. Yeah. Ain't he cute? Yeah. Look at a little Crypto there. What can I say? I enjoyed this. I thought it was really, really good and whatnot. But of course, we have those characters in there who we don't have. You don't know your comic books. You're not going to know who they're going to be. But I'm like, hey, well, at least we finally get to see Crypto. We've never seen him before, so there we go. And I thought it was a really well done movie. And tiny, 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 tiny spoiler alert. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but what can we say? Shall I say, within the first 2 minutes of the movie, you know what the best thing about this is? No origin! We don't need to see the origin. It is not in here. Thank God. It's only done in text. Yes, the origin is done in text for 30 seconds. There's your origin. If you want to watch the origin movie, go watch Christopher Reeve. Go watch that one. There's your origin right there. Or go watch Superman Returns. There you go again. But yeah. So, well, then again, this could be the only movie in the DC studios, line or whatever, since basically, supposedly he's gotten kicked out again or whatever. Hollywood just can't seem to get DC, figured out, can they? Nope. Marvel seems to be doing somewhat okay, but, DC's kind of hurting still a little bit. So speaking of DC, at least we've got some stuff here that I know is definitely done correctly. We have some more movies to add to the DC animated universe. Yes, and we've got pretty much almost all of them, finally, up to almost the current Aztec Batman release. And these are all ones that I did not have on Blu-ray. Now that I'm finally glad I finally found a whole bunch of them. So, first off, we've got here Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Not watched this in a long time. Now, mind you, I did used to have a lot of these on DVD, but I was like, you know what? I want these in the best picture quality possible. So that's why I went and decided to go for the Blu-rays because, well, they've actually got some exclusive shorts and stuff like that that are on the Blu-rays. Or if you can actually find the 2-disc editions on some of these, good luck. But, Blu-ray, there you go. So, Crisis on Two Earths. And then we also found the original release of Justice League The New Frontier. Yeah, this is the original Blu-ray release. Now, there is a commemorative edition of this, which has basically the same thing. All the content that's on here is on that other edition as well as that edition has some few extra bonus content on it and whatnot, and Wonder Woman also did the same thing, as well as I think it's Throne of Atlantis, I think. Then up next we've got here Batman Superman Public Enemies with the shiny slipcover. Yeah, how cool is that? Loaded with extras. Great. These movies are awesome. I mean, they really are. I mean, if DC is gonna do an animated universe or just do a movie universe, just do it animated instead, because that seems to be working out very well for you. Then let's see here. What else is there? We've got a few more sitting around down here. Yeah, they kind of got strained away in the pile here. So okay. All right. So then up next we've got here basically. One of the more side, I guess you could call it side quest movies, if you want to be all technical, because technically it's part of the DC animated movie lineup. But here we have Freedom Fighters The Ray. I've not seen this. I was like, never heard of this one, so I figured, well, I'm just going to grab it anyways, because it's part of the DC animated, stuff. So there we go. Then I also found Vixen the movie. Never heard of this one either. I know it's a DC animated movie. So, it looks like, from what I could tell from the back of it, I think this kind of falls in line more of like the Berlanti universe. So we'll see. Alrighty. And oh, never mind. Thought I heard something. Anyways, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. Anyways, so yeah. Okay, now these last two, I have been looking for these forever on Blu-ray, and I found them on Amazon for fairly decent price. Actually, I think they were ended up being like $8 a piece, which isn't bad at all. What can we say? It's the it's basically it's Adam West's, it's his finale basically. So here we have Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders. So not only did I got his first animated movie here voicing Batman, as well as his final movie, Batman versus Two-Face. Of course, this was supposed to be way back in the 60s show, because originally William Shatner was supposed to play Two-Face. And they're like, well, he may be too scary for kids. So they opted to change the character to a character named False Face, which I think is actually a little bit creepier than Two-Face. But, yeah. So, anyways. So, yeah, that does it for the DC animated universe, but we still got some more stuff. Yeah. So, up next here, well, we have a movie that, it's a very interesting movie, and it's one that's not really talked about a whole lot, and it's kind of a hidden gem, in my opinion. So, for those of you who, of course, are fans of the original Superman TV series from the 50s, then you might enjoy this murder mystery movie. Yeah. So here we have this interesting movie with Ben Affleck starring as George Reeves. We've got Hollywoodland. Very, very interesting movie about basically how George Reeves dealt with all the fame after he was announced and cast as, of course, as playing Superman in the Adventures of Superman TV series. There's also this very interesting scene with this little boy who actually has a gun, and just the acting that Ben Affleck does in this one sequence is amazing. Definitely check that movie out. Alrighty, so what else do we have here? Alright, we're finally starting to wind down here. So up next, we got ourselves another complete series to add to the Marvel Universe. Yeah! I've not watched this series yet, but I found this at like an antique mall, thrift store type of place for $5. I mean, I'm not going to complain. So we literally have here the complete series of the Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, all 8 discs. I think this is this must be from the Sony series or something like that. But when did this come out? 2008, 2009. So yeah, the Spectacular Spider-Man. How cool is that? And what's awesome is that all of the discs actually have artwork on it. How cool is that? So yeah, there we go. Alrighty, and then up next we got basically 2 movies left and the book. Yes, I'm saving the book for last. So we've got here a DVD. I found this at the mom and pop store. I have the Blu-ray of this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm like, is this the original DVD release? And it was. And on top of that, the original DVD release can go up there in collector's prices depending on who's selling it. Definitely an independent movie, but what can we say? It is basically Wes Craven's, his only time doing a comic book movie. Yeah, we've got the original Swamp Thing DVD. Yeah, and if you hear clicking in the background, that's the dog. He came in here to get some munchies, apparently. So, alright, and then we have here one of the seasons from the Berlanti universe. There's 4 of them. I've got, I think, almost all of Arrow, or all of Arrow. I got some of The Flash. I got 1 or 2 seasons of Supergirl, and I think a couple seasons of The Legends of Tomorrow. But this season of Supergirl, I did not have. We've got the 2nd season. Obviously, I need to watch the 1st season before I get onto it. So there we go. Alrighty, well that does it for the physical media part. Now, the book. Yes. So, I found this at Goodwill. I was kind of surprised. And mind you, you don't see stuff like this anymore. Now, kids these days will have no idea what this is. But for those of us, people, or for those of us individuals who grew up in the 90s, and we had comic books that were coming out like crazy. But on top of that, we actually had original novels written. Yeah. And I managed to find this. We've got here, I found this at Goodwill. We've got The Fantastic Four Redemption of the Silver Surfer, written by Michael Yan Friedman. And I was like, are you serious? This is awesome. And it's in hardcover, too. It's actually in really good condition for what it is. And mind you, you don't see stuff like this anymore. You just don't. And, of course, put up my Putnam books there. You gotta love the artwork there. Yeah, $3. I'm not gonna complain there. Definitely worth the money. And like I said, I remember reading a lot of these books when I was a kid. And what's great about it is that every chapter has really cool original artwork for each chapter for what's going on. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So yeah, oh boy, that was a long video. So I apologize for the length of it. There definitely is going to be some more updates. Obviously, some of them are going to be obviously a lot shorter than this. Like I said, things just got in the way, and technical issues and whatnot. So yeah, back to updates. Yeah, big time updates here in the Media Files. So with that, you guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, leave a comment down below. Check out the Patreon page for some fan commentaries. The most recent one is for the movie Scream, the 1996 movie. And, shall we say, speaking of awesome horror movies, I'm going to see one this weekend. I will not tell you what it is until it's been uploaded here on the channel. And we will definitely have a discussion about one of my favorite horror movies that I'm going to go see this weekend. So, yeah, keep look out for that. Alrighty, so with that, you guys, take care, and see you later.